Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, on such a glorious afternoon. I'm back home now. The pub is but a distant memory. We should really begin this video by saying, and lo, it came to pass, because I made a prediction and the prediction came true. This happens a lot, but that's mainly because I know what I'm talking about. And what was my prediction? Well, my prediction was that landlords would start selling up. They'd see the way the world was going and they knew that they had to get out of the sector. And they have. There is a massive exodus, and the figures released for June show how massive that exodus is. Now, these figures are for the UK wide, but you can break it down and apply it really to just about any particular region of the country. They're bound to hold true. I suspect they'll actually be slightly worse in Scotland, but that's due to other mitigating factors such as rent controls, such as the formulation of house building being so bad, and the insistence that come 2028, for example, every privately rented property must have a heat pump source. So they don't want to be coughing up £30,000-40,000 per unit for that. So, you know, depending on the region, it's going to be even worse than these figures are suggesting. But the research firm 20EA has confirmed indeed that 18% of all properties listed for sale in June were previously rental properties. That's nearly 1 in 5 properties was previously a rental property coming off the market. Who will this benefit? Well, the owners of the property, of course, will make a nice bit of money. They'll stick that in the stock market. Boom, boom, boom. They're not really going to be worried about that. They then don't have to worry about ongoing legislation going forward. Who's it harming? Well, it's going to harm the tenants because they've had to get those tenants out of those houses. They've got to sell those houses into a free and open market. Those houses will be removed from the rental property. People who can buy houses will have bought them. Many tenants are not and may not ever be in a position to buy a house. And now there's increasingly fewer houses for them to rent. And we know what happens then when there's a shortage. Rents go up. Regardless of all the intentions, tenants are going to suffer. In June, 28,000 homes that were previously rental properties have been put on the market and listed for sale. 28,000 properties in 1 month. The rental market in this country will not be sustainable because the government aren't building anything like that number of rental properties to replace them. And they can't. There literally isn't the capacity. They haven't got the capital. They haven't got the workers. They haven't got the tradesmen. They're talking about building 300,000 homes a year. It isn't going to happen, says a man who's been in the building industry as an accountant, as an operations manager, as someone who's worked at the pointy end for 35 years. It isn't going to happen. Now, Katie Billany, I'm presuming that's how it's pronounced, who's the executive director of 20AE, said there's a lot of uncertainty, but in the buy-to-let market around what the changes in government mean for landlords right now. But they've also been hit by steep interest rate rises and rising costs generally, maintenance, insurance, that sort of thing. So it's like there are many factors in play, but certainly looking at forward pressures is playing a massive part. In a single month, 20% of all houses previously rental. It's remarkable. Those, of course, who are staying, she's saying as well that those who stay in the market are seeing big uploads in rent, but the costs are increasing. It's not good. Who's housing the people that are being made homeless? Local councils can't. Local councils are unable to do so. The private sector isn't there to house them anymore. As soon as these houses go up for rent, there's always someone who will pay that rent. It doesn't matter what rent you ask, someone will always pay it. Those at the lower end of the rung are going to be living in cars or in boxes under bridges. And this is a direct result of government policy. And yes, I know you're arguing, but June surely was a Conservative government. Yes, but everyone knew in June Labour were going to win. And everyone knew exactly what Labour were going to do with private rental sector. And so they took the opportunity and dumped their houses. And it will continue. And it will continue until there's virtually no private rental sector in this country. And the homelessness and the tent cities will be a national shame. Thank you very much. Take care. Goodbye.